Some bodies didn't care about that. You had 9 dead bodies. But let's go back a little bit further. When you sell your soul to the devil, or you make a deal with demons, or let's just say demonology, or for people who may be freaked out by that term, let's say darker forces. It doesn't take much. All a person has to say is, I'll do anything to make it. I'll do whatever it takes. There is there are intelligent life forms that are invisible to the human eye that hear that. And you begin to have a resonance about you that matches that proclamation.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to the Supreme Clientele Podcast. Today, I got a special guest. This man right here he's a philanthropist. He's a colorist. He's a spiritualist. He's an artist. He's an executive. A lot of things I can say about this man. Tree Master GANO GRILLS. Welcome.
How you doing, King?
Peace and blessings to you, brother.
Always, man. Good to be here, brother.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, man.
Absolutely.
Good to have you here.
Absolutely.
Welcome, man.
Yeah.
We've been building for a long time.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
That's
Many
a fact.
years. I ain't gonna even say a long time, decades.
Yeah.
Me and the
that's
Street
true.
Master has been building on a few things.
Mm-hmm.
But the last couple of days, something major hit the airwaves. Something real major. And we were going back and forth about it. So you know what? We might as well just, you know what I mean, put it on video.
Yeah, why not, man?
Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
So we was talking about this this Diddy doc that's on Netflix. He has an interesting perspective on it. You know, I had couple of arguments, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, a couple of words against it, but you know, go ahead, man. Give me your input, man.
Well, you know, when it comes to Diddy, as he's known, I believe, or Brother Love, right now, I watched the 4-part documentary, and I thought it was good, and I thought it answered a lot of questions. I also thought that it made a lot of things clear that might have just been subjective or conspiratorial fodder out there for years. None of us were there firsthand and can speak on some of the things that they fingernailed specifically. So to hear certain people like Joy Dickerson, Kurt Burrows, people that worked for him, that were there with him, give their account. Now remember, you know, you don't want to get on record and go on a documentary telling lies, because that damages your credibility forever. So I'm inclined to think that these people are being truthful, and they've been not vetted, but they've been warned, like, hey, listen, you know that once this is in the can, this is your credibility.
Is it fair to say a lot of it is their truths?
Yeah, well, you know, okay.
Because, for example, my truth can be my interpretation of what happened, or just how I feel happened.
Well, it's always like that, because if you know you have 2 people in a scenario, you have one person's perspective and you have another person's perception, and then you have the reality as it is. Who determines what's the reality and the overall truth? There's no barometer, or there's no referee that can say, hey, what he thinks is real, what his perception is real, and his interpretation is, that's never going to be. But it's the court of public opinion. So again, I'm more inclined and inspired to think that these grown adults who have everything to lose by incriminating themselves by telling lies, right? So I feel like we've had a direct account specifically from the mouths of the people who experience things. And I have no reason not to believe everything that they're saying because they're on a public record. And the documentary talking about certain things that we
People
may have
lied in the court of law.
Yeah, they have.
Documentary, court of law. People lie all the time.
Right.
It's like this. You had a couple of individuals up there that had reasons to lie. Like, let's go back to Burroughs, right?
Right.
His situation, you heard him say, Puff came in, he had 25% stake in Bad Boy.
Right.
He took it back.
Right.
This man wound up living in a homeless shelter. After getting years later, got fired from Bad Boy, was in a homeless shelter.
Right.
He has every reason to go on Diddy, lying or not.
Right.
So
But he also has motive.
He has motive.
He has motive to tell the
I'm not
truth
saying he's lying. And for the record,
is.
I'm not implying that he's lying. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'm just, he has motive to say negative things about him.
Right.
Because he's hurt. He's coming from a hurt place. You can't tell me that man's not hurt?
Of course. Of course. I think everybody's in there. But here's the thing, right? Even, let's take it back to one of the executive producers, Curtis Jackson, right? We all know that he's a Cancerian #1, and he's extremely petty, and he holds on to a grudge for life.
No doubt.
He'll tell you that himself.
No doubt.
But I feel like you're putting something more on the line that you can't take back. Like you just can't take back the bullet out of a gun after it lodges from it. So I'm not I didn't look at the documentary from a standpoint of doubt or pessimism. I looked at it like
Quality.
This corroborates most of the things that I heard, and it goes into detail from eyewitnesses that experienced it themselves. And also, I feel like it adds up. It makes sense because, you know, we all have a sense, or some of us have a more heightened sense of what's real. So you can kind of tell if somebody's lying to you or if they're beguiling a situation. So you with life experience, I don't think these people have, you know, a reason to lie. Or
Well, you brought up Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, executive producer.
Right.
His, allegedly, Jane Doe was his kid's mother.
Right.
Diddy took her and turned her into a sex slave.
Right.
Isn't that motive for payback?
I would say this, if they were already broken up, and even if they weren't broken up, right? Let's say 50 was...
50's been calling Diddy a fruity pie for the last 25 years.
I mean, you know, where was the alleged lie in that when you have so many men that have spoken out about what he allegedly has done to them?
But still, just because many people have said something doesn't make it true.
Be that as it may. Okay, so let's go a little bit further.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, good, duly noted. But
because we haven't seen with our own eyes.
No, none of us were there, right? So I would say that when you look at rumors and how persistent rumors are, if you keep hearing, I've lived long enough to say, you know, I can kind of tell when something is a rumor and when something is not. There are certain people that you don't hear rumors about at all. There are some people that, you know, you've heard the story 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a dozen times. There might be some validity to it. You have a mountain worth of, he did this to this person, that person is dead, this person sued him, this person's been robbed. And it's like, when you put 1/10 of that together, you can pretty much surmise that this is not a nice person. And there might be something to that. People just don't make up things, and it's in line with what I believe to be true because it makes sense. The pathology of how this person has conducted himself over the course of 33 years in the public eye with the things that I have consistently heard about him along.
But what has he done in the public eye?
I'm not here to indict him. I'm saying in the public eye, I mean, you know, he's been very audacious and flashy and a lot. Watch this. No, I'm going to answer the question. You have 10 artists that I can name off the rip who have said themselves, this man robbed us. Who does that? Who wants to compete with the artists?
We can say that about 100 artists that don't have nothing to do with him. The whole industry, 99% of the industry has been robbed.
Okay, I'm talking about there's a difference between you signing a faulty contract with the larger label. Everybody knows and can expect that unless you're the producer and unless you know a lot about the industry, you're not going to be able to, to make a deal for yourself. So as a result, your ignorance gets you the slave part of the deal.
Right.
We're not talking about that. We're talking, okay, I'm talking about there's a difference between you signing a faulty contract with the larger label. Everybody knows and can expect that unless you're the producer and unless you know a lot about the industry, you're not going to be able to, to make a deal for yourself. So as a result, your ignorance gets you the slave. Okay, I'm talking about there's a difference between you signing a faulty contract with the larger label. Everybody knows and can expect that unless you're the producer and unless you know a lot about the industry, you're not going to be able to, to make a deal for yourself. So as a result, your ignorance gets you the slave about an individual who has signed artists and according to the artist has ripped them off. The Locks, 112, like so many different people. I've heard interviews from these people.
I haven't heard 112, but go ahead.
Okay, so the continuity of all of these people saying pretty much the same thing makes a lot of sense. And then when you look at, what happened after Biggie died, how you put yourself in a position to be somewhat exalted as opposed to, letting Biggie's fans have some type of grief period. You took advantage of the wave and, manipulated it to exalt yourself. That was amazing how we did that. That was amazing. And in all
fairness,
what you
he
want.
was working on an album, his own album before
Do
Biggie
you know
died.
how many albums have been shelved or delayed because this is the wrong time for that? This is not the right time.
Right,
No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to ride it. Matter of fact, I'm going to take the momentum of this this grief and use it for myself. I'm going to take him off the cover and put myself there. And I'm going to celebrate his life,
by making a record, a hit record.
by all of that is just it's mastermind. It's diabolical. Only a mastermind can do that.
That could be diabolical masterminding. It could also be therapeutic for him.
Have you ever heard of the read the room or tone deaf? Or okay,
For sure.
So
For sure.
when you care about how things may look, you want to be on the right side of history. They call it optics. So certain things you just don't do.
And for argument's sake, real quick. All right, at the same time, the Locks made a song called We'll Always Love Big Papa. It wasn't a hit song. Right? But they made the song. Right? They made the song.
Right.
Now, had that song sold millions of records, then what? Would that have been the Locks taking advantage of the death of Biggie?
No, there's a difference because the Locks were not the CEO of the label that they were on. The Locks did not have a say in, what was going to happen with the legacy of an artist that he allegedly robbed from. So you can't compare the Locks, what they did in the song and how it could have done to what Diddy did with what's the name of that song? That Sting is getting all of the royalties for. You know what I mean?
And Source Money wrote that as well.
Did he?
Source Money wrote the lyrics.
Wow.
So sidebar.
I didn't
real
even
quick.
know that.
Source Money wrote it.
Shout out to Source Money.
And because
my man.
Diddy didn't clear the song before it came out, Source Money gets no money.
And Sting gets
all the money.
Royalty. And he's not budging on none of that.
And we talking about
and I'll appear in your video, but I'm getting all that money. Because you should have cleared. You didn't do that.
100%.
You gotta live with it. Absolutely.
100%.
So
100%. Yeah.
I think the overall prevailing thing for me in this entire thing, because I tend to see things from a spiritual standpoint.
Okay.
I have a personal theory. I feel like, and I'm going to pose this as a hypothesis as not to anger fans, and we may have to really look at this and see if we want to put it out. But my theory is, I want to put it as what if the person that we're talking about, who this 4-part documentary is about, not going to say any names.
Just spill it, go ahead.
What if in 1991, the City College tragedy, how did that really happen? It happened because it was overbooked and it was irresponsibly managed. You can't overbook an event like that because now you are outweighing the capacity of the venue. But because some bodies didn't care about that, you had 9 dead bodies. But let's go back a little bit further. When you sell your soul to the devil, or you make a deal with demons, or let's just say demonology, or for people who may be freaked out by that term, let's say darker forces. It doesn't take much. All a person has to say is, I'll do anything to make it. I'll do whatever it takes. There is an intelligent, there are intelligent life forms that are invisible to the human eye that hear that. And you begin to have a resonance about you that matches that proclamation. And as you walk around the ley lines with that, literally, you don't have to keep saying that. There are intelligent forces that are watching that and will say, oh, okay, I can have a meal on
Intelligent
that.
forces.
Intelligent forces
spirits,
that are entities, spirits of darkness, for lack of a better term, right? So now this person is walking around with that type of energy, and all the intelligent forces that assign themselves to his desire said, I'm going to make that happen. But what is their motivation? Their motivation is a colloquial or a fact that I believe to be true, right? That might be oxymoronic, but I think everything feeds, everything eats. Even the entities and forces that you do not see with the optical acuity of your visual perspective, they have to eat too. So intelligent, darker forces they're going to consume the energy of your ascent and your downfall. Because I've studied the arcane and the occult, one thing I know about demons and these darker forces is they will catapult you to the heights on top of the mountain. They'll bring you past everybody. But one of their paybacks and how they eat and how they get interest on the loan of the energy that they gave you is your public downfall, in part, in real time. And we've seen that with R. Kelly, Paula Deen, Bill Cosby, Jussie Smollett, so many people that have had a nice long run, but it plummeted like a deck of cards, never to be repaired. So that is a hallmark of somebody who's made a deal with the devil, so to speak.
I'm with you.
Right.
And I believe that to an extent. I do believe it. High extent. I believe in that.
Absolutely.
But where do we draw the line? Or where can we say, well, that was just an accident? Do tragedies that happen like that, can't they just be accidents? Can't they just be someone not preparing property or malpractice?
Absolutely.
You follow what I'm saying?
I do. There are DWIs that happen every day. There are construction accidents that happen because...
So why does it have to be a soul?
Right, it doesn't have to be, but you judge the tree by the fruit that it bears. It doesn't take much to know that if there is an apple tree that's not yielding a healthy crop of apples, there's something wrong with the tree. It also, antithetically, if you're looking at an orange tree and it has a healthy bounty, one time I went to Omarion's grandmother's house. I'm hanging out with him in LA, and he took me to his grandmother's house, and like, lovely woman, in her backyard, she had a lemon tree, and there was lemons all over the ground, and the lemons almost looked like oranges. And I'm still a little upset at myself that I didn't grab as many of those lemons and bring it back home and put some in the freezer and just I took for granted that what I was seeing was abundance. And lemons that grow in the backyard of somebody's tree that has a loving home probably taste very different from what we get in the grocery
100%.
store, right? So when you look at the person in question, when you look at Diddy and you look at the long period of time that he's had with all of these allegations in between and the disregard that he's had for some of the people that he's just thrown away, it's not hard to tell that he only cares about himself. And because he's done this, now let's take it a little bit further with my particular theory, right? I know that there are intelligent life forces. Let's say, have you ever heard of reptilians before?
Yes.
Have you ever seen one?
I don't believe.
Do you
And if I
believe-
did, I don't know if
Right.
that was a reptilian.
Okay, a reptilian is a scaly-like, tall creature that has eyes like a snake, and they don't have clothes, and they
some
look
Men in
like a
Black
human
type
snake.
stuff.
Something like that, right? But do you believe they exist, Mo?
I believe it.
You do believe?
I believe.
Even though you've never seen one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I believe the life and the forces in this world are probably greater unseen than they are seen. In other words, the invisible realm
Excellent.
that we can't see,
Okay.
it's probably going on,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, more than you can actually see.
Okay.
If we could see them, we probably wouldn't come out of our houses.
Absolutely, right? And,
what
you
I'm
know, I would say that the dimensions and the realms are separated by your ability to see into them, right? They're also separated by frequency. So I say that to say this. We have a great place to start from because you have a belief in the occult and the arcane and the existence of what it is that you cannot see. I believe that there are forces out there that can be right in front of you that can cloak themselves and you can't see them, but yet they can manipulate anything in the environment that they choose to. So with that being said, taking my theory a little bit further, I feel like these forces also have given Diddy the knowledge of exactly what to do to give him just enough plausible deniability so that he could go unscathed as long as he has. Because he would have to be a genius to concoct this bravado and be able to get away with this all by himself. I don't think anybody is that intelligent. If you commit a crime, there are 20 ways for you to get caught. If you could think of 5 of those ways to get caught, you would be a genius. And most people are not genius. So my point that corroborates my theory is that because Diddy has gone for so long and done so many he's committed so many atrocities according to the people that have said he has, allegedly. Right? From his artists, you know, Craig Mack, some of them are deceased. And some of them have given very clear, scathing accounts of how disrespectful and how narcissistic and diabolical in some cases this guy is. It takes another intelligent force to download that data into him. Move like this, do that, bribe this person, kill that person.